So I would like to make a motion that we move the election back to November so we don't waste any more taxpayer money on separate elections. I think that that's important. I think that we need to be very more fiduciary in our spending and how we do it. And I just think that it's important that any money we could save for children, we put towards the kids instead of moving it in another direction. I mean, there's many districts, take East Brunswick, they lost $8 million. I haven't seen them change their election yet to April. They're still in November. So I think that we need to move the election back to November, and I like to make that motion.
Okay.
Can I second it, or is it something that needs to make a motion?
Do we make, is it a motion or?
He made a
I know
motion.
when we moved, yeah, so
He made a
so it has
motion.
to be seconded.
I'll second it.
And then discussion. So let's discuss that. Mr. Tufano.
The fact remains that if we didn't move the election to when we did, we wouldn't be able to go out to the public and ask to go over cap. If we didn't ask to go over cap, we would have had a lot of programs to cancel this year. So changing the election is just, in my opinion, a spiteful move and not productive for the community.
Ms. Ratner?
So I think that I agree with moving the election back to November because with the passage of S2837, now we can have a special election in it's January, March, September, or December for the following year. So no longer is our election tied into the budget. However, I think that the right way to do this would be to have a discussion in the committee next month and then bring it back to the board for discussion. So I would like to make a motion to table. Can I make a motion to table?
Yeah, that's one of the only motions that you can actually make while there's a pending motion, so
I'll
yes.
second that.
I'll second that. Sorry, you did already.
And have this vote next month.
But can I still discuss this?
Well,
Or the
Ms.
second?
Ms. Ratner made a motion to table, so we need to have a vote on the motion to table. So you're voting to table the motion to move the election.
Is there discussion, discussion on the motion to
Oh,
table?
Yes. Any questions?
I can just reiterate what Ms. Ratner said. We have the district administration working overtime to present a budget philosophy far ahead of time. The cost of this election, I would like to say, is the cost of one full-time position in this district. And at this point, the driver of this conversation is that we didn't get any cuts, but the driver of this conversation should be that we are owed a lot of money by the state that we haven't gotten, that we've been fighting for the last 2 decades. Other towns have been getting that money. They stopped getting that money for 2 years, and they went through so many cuts. So we've survived with far less money, and we want to still continue to be public fiduciaries and spend our money well, but not at the cost of taking away quality education from our children. So if not having this, and I would like to ask Ms. Ratner this, so has it been passed?
So it's passed both houses. It has not been signed by the governor yet, but usually if it's passed in both
Right.
houses,
So
it's that
again,
matter.
Another reason for us to wait
But-
before we go through this
Right,
motion.
but the reality is, I remember we had this discussion, we saw Robbinsville had actually done this year anyway, so I'm not actually sure where they were different from this legislation. But I think that the budget discussion, it's now honestly separate from this question, right? I think just that we can ask the administration to do what they can so that we don't go above cap. Next month we can have this discussion, move the election to November so we know there's no cost, and hope that we don't have to go over cap, but in the event that we do, we still have that
And
option.
I'm not disagreeing to that. I just say, why are we jumping the gun when we're already in the process? We don't have to decide. We're not paying $82,000 today. We will pay that next year in the summer if we have the election in April. So can we wait a few months? Let's go through the process. Let's see what it is. Let that thing become a law so that we know we are completely covered. We really got challenged by the law last minute last year. So we don't know which way this is going till it passes as a law. What's the rush to do this today? Just because we got a bill this year in August for April, we just need to make a motion and cut out all of our chances for quality education in case we need one? Let's go through the
I
deliberations.
disagree. I think
Mr.
that's a
Piro.
little
Why are we
extreme. We're not
rushing?
cutting out all the
Totally
chances at all because their legislation has passed, it just has to be signed. So we're still able to go forward, we're still able to go forward with the second question at other
Exactly.
opportunities like we did with the
Agreed,
referendum, but we're
in-
not, but
we
we're
won't
just
be able to
moving the Board of Education
We won't be able to
election.
start the school year. We may not be able to renew some people because we don't have it in the budget. You don't know if the question in November is
But
going to
this-
pass.
this-
Can I
Go
just
ahead.
finish the sentence? Yes, you can put a question in November, right? But your budget passes in April.
This isn't about putting a
You-
question in November. You don't have to put a question in November.
No, you
You
don't
can
have
put a
to.
question in September, April,
March.
March, December.
No, but if you put a question in April, we pay for it.
Well, same thing, right.
Right, so why are we changing? Oh, because we don't want to have a school election in
We
April?
don't need to have a school election in April.
Right, so if you're already paying for it, the cost is not, it's not double or less, but if
We
we.
don't know if we need it or not.
Right, exactly, we
shouldn't
would
need
know
it.
by November. We're going through the budget philosophy, so why not
We
wait till
shouldn't.
November?
We can't go after the taxpayer
We will
every
not
year
if we don't
for
need to.
more and more money.
I agree,
When
I
we're a
agree.
district that gets more, not our fair share, but more than we got the year before.
Mr. Piro,
So
I'm not disagreeing.
I think that the play on words here is, like Ms. Fabiano said, we have an election, general election. Then if we need a special question, then we have all these months to do it.
I
don't
am not
understand-
disagreeing.
I don't understand what the grandstanding is.